Thom, we don't really have what I would think is an anti-war movement, especially in Congress right now, but I do think there is a growing progressive movement, whether it's Cori Bush, AOC, Jamal Bowman, Ro Khanna, Marie Newman. There's obviously several, I'm sure, potential new individuals who may hopefully throw their hat in the ring for 2022 and beyond. How important is it to really develop that that grassroots movement that right now seems to be, obviously a lot of people are still, licking their wounds from what happened to Bernie. And obviously right now, the trail that's been left by Trump, and Lord knows how long that's going to take to clean up. But I think right now the desperation is really, it's at a boiling point, especially when it comes to the survival checks and not having universal health care. So I'd like to know from your perspective, seeing what you've seen over the years, how important it is right now to really develop that grassroots movement that may be there, but it seems more like a rudderless ship right now.
If we are not successful in producing genuine progressive change, and let's be very clear, every public opinion survey for the last 20 years shows that everything that Bernie ran on is wanted by a majority of Americans, more than 50% of Americans, and these days more than 80%, from free college to a national healthcare system to a government guarantee of a job if the private sector is in collapse, to a higher minimum wage, to enhance union rights. These are not radical positions. This is where America is at. And one of the reasons I wrote this book is because it's obvious we are in an oligarchy. It's been about 20 years, according to Gillens and Page's research, since what the average person wants gets translated into legislation. Right. Back before Reagan, what people wanted, we turned into law. We created, the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act, Medicare, Medicaid, food stamps, long-term unemployment, housing assistance, Pell Grants for college. I mean, I could give you a list of 100 things long that people wanted and legislators turned into law between 1950 and, well, you can go back to the 30s even, Social Security, and 1980. But starting in 1980, really, that just came to a screeching halt. And now it's only what the billionaires want. That's why the only legislative accomplishment of the Trump administration was a $2 trillion tax cut for billionaires. So the problem with this is that when people figure out that their elected officials are ignoring them, that they're not getting what they want, and like I said, this has been going on for 20 years, that, in other words, when people figure out that they're in an oligarchy, oligarchies are extraordinarily unstable political systems. They very rarely last more than a single generation, rather longer than 20 years. And when they change in one of two directions. Either the people take out the oligarchs or take down the oligarchs, or the oligarchy, let's say, as happened with the Civil War and has happened with Franklin Roosevelt's war on what he referred to as the economic royalists. Or the oligarchs have amassed so much power that they look around and they say, holy crap, these people are trying to take us down. We're going to pass some laws, and we're going to, and basically the country turns into a police state. And this is what you saw happen to the new democracy of Russia. This is what you see happening right now in Hungary, which used to be a fully integrated European Union country. We're seeing it in Brazil right now with Bolsonaro. We're seeing it in the Philippines with Duterte. Pick your example. It's happening in Poland with Duda right now, in Turkey with what's his name? Anyway, you get my point. Yeah. And so Trump was taking us on this path right smack dab into police state. I mean, that was absolutely the direction he was going. And there's no doubt in my mind that you and I would probably be in jail right now, or maybe a year or two from now, if he had been able to hold power. Because when you look at the track of these oligarchs, as they're going through the process of seizing control of a democracy and turning it into an oligarchy, they begin trashing the press. And when they finally flip it into a police state, the first people they imprison are the press. And murder, by the way, as you can see, all happening all over the world right now. It's not a safe time to be a journalist in Turkey, for example. And that's the direction they were going. So we're at this really critical point. Now, the one thing that will cause a large number of Americans to say we want to go with democracy instead of a police state is if the Biden administration and the Democratic Party can deliver on genuine progressive reforms. If they fail to do that, like Clinton failed to do it and Obama failed to do it, you're going to have a whole bunch of voters who are going to sit around. I knew a half a dozen people when I lived in Washington, D.C. They were all military or ex-military, who were fanatic about Bernie during the primary and all voted for Trump. That's what you're going to see. People are going to say, to hell with them. They're all politicians. Whoever has the best line about how they're going to blow up the system, I'm going to vote for it because the system is screwed. And that'll just bring us President Josh Hawley or President Rick Scott or in 2024, and then somebody smarter than Donald Trump will pull the switch, and that'll be the end of America. So it's, in short answer to your, I'm sorry I gave you a long answer, but in answer to your question, it's vital that progressives rise up, create and fill a movement, take over the Democratic Party at the local level, show up at your local Democratic Party, become a progressive, become a precinct committee person. These are the people who pick the primary candidates and write the party platform. And let's take over the Democratic Party broadly. I mean, we've been doing this now slowly for 20 years, and we're starting to get some success. And then the last point I'll make is the one thing that will prevent that kind of progress by the Biden administration and guarantee a Republican president in 2024 is the filibuster. If the Republicans can still exercise a veto on Joe Biden doing any of the progressive things that he and Kamala Harris are actually talking about doing. And I got to say, a year ago, I never in my wildest dreams would have thought I would be talking about Joe Biden this way. But in any case, if the people can't, if the Republicans stop him from doing those things, then, we're toast. We're toast. And so the most important thing that people can do who are listening or watching right now is call their senators at 202-224-3121, which is the main switchboard in Washington, D.C. for Congress, and just ask for your senator and just say, blow up the filibuster, especially if your senator is Joe Manchin in West Virginia or Kyrsten Sinema in Arizona, because they're the two who have said, we're the two Democrats who are going to hang on to the filibuster, to help out Mitch McConnell. Well, obviously to help out big coal and big real estate and banking, But anyway.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.